a lion on the brink of death, a ranger with a dark past, an extraordinary act of loyalty. This is Luca's story. Are you ready? Drop a yes in the comments if you want to hear more. In a routine early morning patrol on the Kenyan savannah, Ranger Jack was driving his familiar Jeep along the dusty road far from the ranger station. The usual peaceful scene was shattered when he saw an unusual sight in the distance, a pale yellow patch standing out against the dry grass. As he got closer, Jack was astonished to realize it was a young male lion lying motionless on the ground. Though still quite young, the lion had a not-too-thick mane, enough to identify its gender. However, what caught Jack's attention was its gaunt and weak body. Ribs were clearly visible under its tangled fur, a clear sign of malnutrition. Curiosity mixed with a bit of anxiety welled up, and he cautiously stopped the Jeep, looking around. There were no signs of a struggle or the presence of a pride nearby. What had caused this once proud predator to become so emaciated and lost? After contacting the station to report, Jack decided to approach the lion cautiously. Instead of heading straight for the animal, he observed the surroundings and circled the area. Nearby, he discovered the skeleton of a gazelle, the remains of an unfinished meal. Vultures still lingered, pecking at the few scraps of meat left. Guessing that the lion was too weak to hunt for itself, Jack decided to help it. He carefully picked up a rib bone of the gazelle with some meat still attached, then slowly approached the lion lying down. As Jack got closer, another pride of lions unexpectedly emerged from the nearby bushes and began to approach him. They growled threateningly, their fierce eyes following Jack's every move. However, after carefully observing their fellow lion, they seemed to recognize the young lion's weak condition. The pride gave one more warning growl, then slowly moved away, leaving Jack alone with the motionless animal. The situation became even more tense. Jack, a seasoned man with sun-weathered skin and sharp eyes, remained calm, keeping his gaze on both the motionless lion and the pride that had just left. The young lion's golden eyes fluttered open, revealing weariness, but no longer the usual ferocity. A mystery hung in the air. What had caused this once proud predator to become so emaciated and separated from its pride? One thing was certain: it was no ordinary lion. Before his body became gaunt and weak, lying alone on the savannah, Luca had been the terror of this land. A young male lion with a mane growing strong. His fur was once as golden as the sun, and his body was muscular, rippling with strength. He was an elite warrior, the pride's pride. Luca's hunts always brought victory, demonstrating his speed, intelligence, and superior strength, inspiring pride in the pride. His roar echoed across the savannah, a declaration of power and dominance. But then, a cruel fate descended, forever changing Luca's life, filling the reader's heart with endless sorrow. As Luca was bending down to drink cool water by the riverbank, a giant crocodile, a predator hidden beneath the murky water, suddenly lunged, its sharp teeth clamping down on his hind leg. Luca roared fiercely, the cry tearing through the silence, struggling in desperation. Claws scraped at the water, each second stretching on endlessly. After a painful struggle, Luca summoned his last strength, biting deep into the crocodile's eye, escaping death by a hair's breadth, but at a great cost, a deep wound that meant he would never run as fast as before. The wound on his hind leg made Luca slow and unable to hunt effectively as before. This not only affected his ability to feed himself, but also burdened the pride. According to the harsh laws of nature, weak individuals are often driven out to ensure the survival of the entire pride. Realizing that Luca was no longer a useful member and could even endanger the pride in confrontations, the alpha lion made a heartbreaking decision. Luca had to leave. Though in pain and shame, Luca understood that he no longer belonged here. After being driven away by the pride, Luca began a solitary and challenging journey. The wound on his leg still throbbed, making each step difficult. He tried to hunt, but slowness and pain caused each effort to end in failure. filling him with deep despair. Loneliness tormented Luca even more as he remembered the glorious days alongside his companions. His roar calling to the pride now echoed in the vast space, unanswered, only the terrifying silence of the savannah surrounding the once leader. His body became increasingly gaunt, his fur tangled and ragged, his ribs protruding prominently. In the grip of gnawing hunger, Luca spotted a young gazelle innocently grazing by the riverbank. A glimmer of hope flickered in his dull eyes. Though he knew that with his crippled leg, the chances of success were slim, Luca still tried his best. He stealthily approached the prey, summoning his last bit of strength to pounce. However, slowness betrayed him. The young gazelle startled and fled, and while trying to chase it, Luca's crippled leg slipped on the slippery mud near the water's edge. Losing his balance, the rushing water swept Luca away, pushing him further and further from familiar territory, farther from the pride's territory and the places he once knew. Loneliness and helplessness overwhelmed the once leader. Food became increasingly scarce, and Luca was forced to resort to rotting carcasses to maintain a sliver of life. But even those meager meals were not easy to come by, as cunning hyenas were always lurking, ready to steal. Luca's body became more and more emaciated, his ribs protruding, his fur losing its sheen, becoming matted and tangled. He was completely alone in these strange and harsh lands. In utter desperation, Luca wandered near a small village where Jack found him. He no longer had the strength to roar threateningly or fight for scraps, and in his dull golden eyes, only a plea remained, something never before seen in a wild lion. A once ruler, now only seeking a bit of pity. Jack silently observed Luca, a sense of doubt arising in his heart at the animal's strange behavior. Though a seasoned ranger, he had never witnessed a lion acting so meekly. It showed no intention of attacking, nor did it panic and flee, but only looked at him with weary and helpless eyes, stirring in Jack a deep sense of compassion. He recognized the pain and despair hidden in those dull eyes, along with the clear signs of physical exhaustion. Jack's past was a story full of turmoil. Before donning the ranger uniform, he had been a notorious wildlife hunter. But one day, witnessing the heartbreaking scene of a lioness brutally killed before the eyes of her helpless cubs, Jack awoke. Remorse tormented him, causing him to abandon his old life, vowing to dedicate the rest of his life to protecting the creatures he once hunted. And now, Luca appeared as an opportunity for him to atone for his past mistakes, driving in him a strong determination. He had to save this lion. He knew that helping a wounded and weakened wild lion was extremely dangerous, but he could not ignore its suffering. The decision to save Luca was not easy, fraught with risks and challenges, causing Jack great anxiety. Approaching a wild lion, even if it was injured, still carried the risk of attack. Moreover, transporting such a large and wild animal was a complex issue. After consulting with his colleagues, Jack decided that Luca needed to be brought to the ranger station for initial medical care before he could be moved to a safer sanctuary. After several weeks of medical care, the lion's health stabilized, and he was able to move and hunt on his own again. An airplane was not a safe option for a lion as weak as Luca, so Jack and the ranger team decided to transport Luca in a specialized truck. A sturdy iron cage, specially designed, had been prepared with enough space for Luca to lie comfortably and securely fastened to ensure safety during the long and arduous journey. Getting Luca into the cage was also a challenge, requiring caution and coordinated teamwork. They used the gazelle rib with meat as bait, while maintaining a safe distance and being prepared to respond to any unexpected situation. The journey lasted for hours, the truck lumbering along bumpy roads through dense forests and arid deserts. Luca remained wary, but did not panic or resist violently. It seemed he sensed the difference. These humans were not enemies, but were trying to help him. Each time the truck stopped to rest, Jack carefully checked on Luca's condition, gently talking and whispering words of encouragement. Though he knew the animal didn't understand his language, He believed that animals could sense kindness and sincerity through tone and gesture. The patience, caution, and compassion of Jack and his colleagues were Luca's only hope on this challenging journey. Finally, after a long, intense journey, the truck stopped at the gate of a vast sanctuary, a safe and fertile land where Luca could find his true wildlife again. When the cage door opened, Luca hesitated for a moment, as if still unable to believe the truth. He looked out at the world outside, breathing in the fresh air. Then, with a powerful leap, he burst out of the cage, feeling the vast savannah breeze caress his ragged fur. A sense of relief filled the minds of Jack and the entire team of rangers who had devoted themselves to helping him. Luca paused for a moment at the edge of the forest, turned his head towards Jack, his eyes seemingly expressing sincere gratitude, a strange connection between human and animal. Then, with a soft growl as if saying goodbye, he disappeared into the vast space of nature, blending into the green of the trees, leaving in Jack's heart elation and a great hope that Luca would find his strength and true freedom in his natural home. A few months after Luca was returned to the wild, Jack and a group of rangers conducted a routine patrol in the nearby area, ensuring the safety of both wildlife and local residents. The late afternoon sunlight painted the tall grass a warm, brilliant color, creating a peaceful scene. Suddenly, a terrifying sound erupted, shaking the ground violently. A mature male rhinoceros, with extreme ferocity, unexpectedly charged out of the bushes, its sharp horn aimed straight at Jack, sowing terror. Caught off guard, Jack was thrown to the ground, a sharp pain spreading throughout his body. The rhinoceros continued to charge, the deadly horn just meters away, the moment of peril imminent, seemingly unavoidable. Just then, a roar echoed across the savannah, shattering the suffocating tension. A powerful figure with familiar golden fur rushed in like a whirlwind. Luca, the gaunt lion from before, had now fully recovered his strength, his body muscular, his fur thick and majestic. He bravely attacked the rhinoceros, sharp claws tearing at the enemy's thick skin, an unexpected event that left everyone stunned. The rhinoceros, suddenly attacked from behind, roared angrily and turned to face Luca. Two giants of the savannah engaged in a fierce battle of life and death. The pride of lions accompanying Luca also quickly appeared, surrounding the rhinoceros, creating immense pressure that confused and disoriented it. After a fierce struggle, the rhinoceros was severely wounded and finally roared in defeat and fled deep into the forest. Luca stood proudly in the middle of the savannah, panting but with resolute eyes, turning his head towards Jack, growling softly as if to ensure his benefactor was safe, an action that was moving to tears. Jack was still in shock, unable to believe what had just happened. Luca had returned, and not only that, he had saved his life. The gratitude and loyalty of the wild lion far exceeded all expectations, a testament to the fact that emotions can arise in seemingly impossible places. He understood that deep within the heart of every creature are powerful emotions and the ability to repay kindness in wondrous and unexpected ways. Luca's touching story is not just a perilous journey of survival, but also a profound lesson about kindness and redemption, stirring in the reader's heart reflections on the relationship between humans and nature. It reminds us that nature is not an object to be conquered and exploited, but an inseparable part of ourselves, deserving of respect and protection. Jack's act of helping Luca had sown a good seed, and Luca's unexpected return was the sweet fruit of that kindness. And sometimes, even those who have been lost and desperate can find the right path to return, and kindness, given to any creature, can sprout and blossom in wondrous and unexpected ways, creating strong bonds between species, lighting the flame of hope for a harmonious future between humans and the wild world. The story of Luca and Jack will be told forever, as a reminder of the power of compassion and the wonder of the natural world.